yeah, Mick?
Yeah, fight of the decade, I think.
What makes it for you?
What that
Fight, what makes it?
What makes it is
Yeah.
like the characters. I mean, they don't get any bigger than these two. I mean, they're both larger than life. They're both opinionated. They're both charismatic. And on top of that, they're both gunslingers. They can both fight. They can both have it any which way, and they can take fighters out with one shot. And they're heavyweights.
Yeah, that's what makes it exciting for me. The heavyweights, the bang the bang factor. Tell me something. At the beginning of the year, I never thought that this would be a fight that Tyson would be considering, or he would even, look on his radar. What changed?
Well, the Steve Cunningham fight. We needed a fight that was going to launch Tyson into the big time, because up until that, before that time, even after the Chisora win and stuff like that, he never got the credit that he deserved. And we needed a fight that was going to launch him worldwide, springboard him into super fights, and that was the fight we chose. And it was on a massive stage. It was on terrestrial TV in the UK. It was on terrestrial TV in the US. And it couldn't have gone down better. It went massive. The mere fact that it was at Madison Square Garden. And then all of a sudden, that was what the doctor ordered. That's what we went after. The phone was off the hook after that fight. Anyone you can think of in the heavyweight division, any promoter was ringing up. So, including David Haye's promoter. Now, I'd spoke to Adam before that, maybe 6 months to a year, and spoke about the potential for the Haye fight, because we always liked that fight. We always wanted it. But I think in his eyes, he didn't feel it was big enough. But he certainly believed it was big enough after the Cunningham fight at Madison Square Garden. And we've obviously talked for a long period of time, but it made sense for everyone after April 20th.
Tell me a little bit about being in America and that exposure that you got. I mean, you say it was the final piece of the puzzle in terms of getting that worldwide recognition. Yeah. If he loses against David, it's kind of all for nothing, isn't it?
I don't believe so.
I'd love to hear what you think on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's heavyweight boxing. What's David now? 32. Tyson's just turned 25. Tyson's doing this at a young age. He's a young heavyweight.
You forget that, though. I think people forget that.
People do, yeah. He's doing it at a young age. Let's not forget, how many times have Vladimir Klitschko been knocked out? 2, 3. It's heavyweight boxing. They're always, as long as they're exciting, as long as they're charismatic, as long as they come to fight, instead of just turning up and sort of like being like a big, European sword fencer. As long as they come to fight, there's always going to be an interest, and there's always going to be interest in characters like Tyson Fury and David Haye. So look, it's a risk, but at this level now, whether it be Pulev, whether it be Klitschko, all these fights are a risk at heavyweight. But this is the biggest fight out of a lot of them. This fight here is bigger. Tyson Fury versus David Haye is bigger than Tyson Fury versus Klitschko for the title.
See, I was going to say that if he comes through this successfully, his stock goes through the roof, and he's effectively cleaned up in his backyard, isn't he? Because no one will be looking at the David Price fight with the same kind of, significance in the way that they would have prior to him losing. So he cleans up here. I mean, what's next?
What's next is one of the Klitschkos. He needs to do a job on David Haye. I believe he will. I know David's camp believe it's going to, they're going to do a job on Tyson. That's how it works. We both believe in our fighter. So, after that, the sky's the limit. The winner of the fight is going to be the hottest heavyweight on the planet.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
See you.